Picture an ordinary summer afternoon. You finish working in the yard, open the refrigerator, grab a plastic bottle of neon blue sports drink, and toss a leftover pineapple skin into the trash. We are told this is modern convenience. But 150 years ago, a pioneer family working 14-hour days in the blazing dirt did not have a refrigerator. They did not have foil packets of hydration powder. And yet, they did not collapse from heat exhaustion. Instead, they relied on a bubbling, living biological pharmacy sitting right on their kitchen counter.
These were not just beverages, they were survival tools built from scraps, wild yeast, and thyme. You will not find them in a modern grocery store today. Not because they stopped working, but because a living, breathing liquid that requires daily attention cannot be sealed in plastic and left on a retail shelf for 2 years. What did older generations know about survival hydration that modern brands hope you never figure out? By the end of this video, you will know the answer. You will learn how to reclaim 5 forgotten living drinks that kept early American households alive. You will learn how to build this system using only what you already have, with 0 expensive starter cultures. But before we build this living pharmacy, we have to understand why we were trained to forget it in the first place. Look closely at the modern American kitchen. It is sleek, convenient, and almost entirely sterile. Over the last century, we quietly traded our role as cultivators of living food to become passive consumers. When we are thirsty, we buy expensive, dead water laced with artificial colors. When our digestion fails, we buy overpriced probiotic capsules at the pharmacy.
We think we are purchasing health, but what we are really buying is dependency. The problem is not just that we are wasting money on things we could make for free. The deeper loss is that we forgot how to partner with nature inside our own homes. Before the refrigerator and the modern supply chain, the old farm kitchen was a living laboratory. Families worked alongside wild bacteria and natural yeasts to keep themselves healthy and preserve their harvest. But then, the economics of food changed. The industrial food system did not outlaw these living drinks. They just trained us to value shelf life over real life. Think about it. A drink that requires 3 days to ferment, relies on wild microbes, and needs to be burped daily to release pressure simply cannot sit in a warehouse for 6 months. It cannot be bottled, branded, and shipped across the country without dying. There was no villain required to erase this knowledge. The system just could not figure out how to profit from a wild ecosystem that you could build using leftover scraps.
So the knowledge was ignored long enough for us to forget it entirely. But the wild yeasts are still in the air, the raw materials are still in your kitchen, and your ability to reclaim this biological independence is completely intact. So if we decide to bypass the grocery store, where do we actually begin? The answer starts with the simplest, most immediate survival drink of the 19th century farmer. If you want to recover your independence from modern sports drinks, you do not start with a complicated fermentation. You start with something immediate. You start with Switchel. Historically known as Haymaker's Punch, this was the daily lifeline for farming families swinging scythes in the blistering summer heat. They did not have the luxury of air conditioning or chemical hydration. Instead, they mixed clean water, raw apple cider vinegar, a bite of fresh ginger, and unsulfured molasses. To the modern eye, it sounds like a strange recipe, but the science behind it is fiercely precise. Unsulfured molasses is not just a sweetener, it is a dense, mineral-rich source of potassium and magnesium, the exact elements the body needs to prevent severe muscle cramps. And the raw vinegar? The acetic acid acts as a natural cooling agent, helping to regulate body temperature. In plain language, Switchel was a perfectly engineered survival electrolyte, crafted generations before the laboratory version existed. You just mix it, and the hydration is instant. There is no waiting. Switchel solves the immediate problem of thirst. But what if you want to turn the literal trash sitting in your kitchen into a powerful digestive medicine? That brings us to the second pillar, Tepache. Most people cut the sweet flesh of a pineapple and throw the tough, spiky skin directly into the garbage. But a self-reliant household sees that skin differently. They see it as a biological engine. If you take those discarded pineapple skins, place them in a glass jar with water, a few cloves, and a bit of brown sugar, you create a zero-waste ferment. The secret here is that the sugar is not for you. You are feeding the invisible wild yeast that lives naturally on the outside of the pineapple rind. Over 2 to 3 days, that wild yeast consumes the sugar and transforms the liquid into a bubbling probiotic tonic.
But the real magic is in the rind itself. Pineapple skin is packed with bromelain, a powerful natural enzyme that breaks down proteins and aids digestion. By saving what modern life trained you to throw away, you have built a functioning pharmacy right on your counter. Pineapple skins and vinegar are incredible tools when you have them. But what if a real crisis hits? What if the power grid fails, the winter is long, the supply chain stops, and the only thing you have left is a cold dirt cellar and a few roots? When the easy abundance of summer disappears, survival requires a much harder kind of resilience. This brings us to the third pillar of the living pharmacy, Beet Kvass. This was the daily drink of the Eastern European peasant, a recipe born out of absolute necessity. It is not sweet or refreshing in the modern sense. It is blood red, deeply earthy, salty, and intensely sour. In the dead of winter, when the only resources left were a cold dirt cellar and a crock of salt, families still needed the physical strength to chop wood, haul water, and endure the bitter cold. To make kvass, you do not need sugar. You do not need a store-bought starter culture. You only need raw chopped beets, clean water, and good unrefined salt. And this is where we have a profound blind spot. Modern cooking treats salt merely as a flavor enhancer, but in the old world, salt was a biological gatekeeper. When you submerge raw beets in a salt brine, the salt actively suppresses mold and harmful pathogens. At the same time, it creates the perfect environment for beneficial lactic acid bacteria to wake up and take over the jar. But the real survival value of Beet Kvass is not just the probiotic bacteria. It is what the fermentation does to the root itself. Raw beets are naturally packed with dietary nitrates. Through lactofermentation, these compounds are effectively unlocked. When you drink that dark red liquid, your body converts those activated nitrates directly into nitric oxide. In plain language, nitric oxide physically widens your blood vessels. It pushes more oxygen and blood flow directly into your muscles. This creates deep, sustained physical endurance without the artificial, nervous crash of a modern caffeine-loaded energy drink. Kvass was never just a beverage. It was liquid stamina. It allowed ordinary people to survive exhausting physical labor on meager rations. Kvass gives you the biological endurance to push through a hard season. But in late fall, when the orchard or the garden suddenly ripens all at once and you cannot possibly eat the harvest fast enough, older generations used the fourth technique to literally freeze time. When a late harvest comes in, it often comes all at once. You suddenly have baskets of bruised apples, overripe berries, or wind-fallen fruit that will rot before you can possibly eat them. Modern households either throw this abundance away or rely entirely on electric freezers to save it. But older generations used the fourth pillar of the living pharmacy to freeze time without a single watt of electricity: the shrub. Also known as a drinking vinegar, a shrub is a brilliant method of raw preservation. If you boil fruit to make a traditional jam or syrup, the intense heat destroys much of the vitamin C. Historically, that was the exact nutrient a family needed most to survive a harsh, immune-depleting winter. The old farm method bypassed the fire entirely. You simply take that overripe fruit, cover it in sugar, and let it sit. The sugar pulls the raw, living juices out of the fruit. Then you pour raw apple cider vinegar over the top. The vinegar acts as a cold extraction solvent. It preserves the delicate vitamin C and creates a shelf-stable syrup that can sit safely in a dark pantry for months. Whenever someone felt an illness coming on, they simply mixed a spoonful of this tart raw syrup into a glass of water. These first four methods, Switchel, Tepache, Kvass, and Shrub, are powerful tools, but they are still just recipes. What if you want to move beyond a single recipe? What if you want to build a self-sustaining biological system, a wild living culture that can stay alive in your family's kitchen for decades? For that, you need the master key. You need the ginger bug. To create a ginger bug, you take a small glass jar, clean water, a spoonful of sugar, and fresh, unpeeled ginger. That is all. You do not peel the ginger. Because the wild yeast you need is resting right there on the rough skin of the root. Every day, you feed it a little more sugar and chopped ginger. You stir it and observe it. In about 5 days, the jar will begin to fizz and bubble on its own. The ginger itself acts as a massive anti-inflammatory, deeply soothing to aching joints. But here is the real liberation moment. A ginger bug is not just a beverage, it is a master starter culture. Once you have an active, bubbling ginger bug on your counter, you possess an infinite engine for fermentation. You can pour a quarter cup of this liquid into any leftover fruit juice, sweetened herbal tea, or garden harvest, and it will naturally carbonate it into a living probiotic soda. You do not ever have to buy a commercial yeast packet, an expensive kombucha mother, or a fragile probiotic pill again. You are no longer just a passive consumer. You are now the manager of a wild, perpetual ecosystem.
The method is simple, but simple does not mean careless. When modern households try to reclaim these old techniques, they often jump in with enthusiasm, but skip the restraint that made them work safely. This is where most people get it wrong. The first and most dangerous mistake is misunderstanding pressure. Wild yeast is incredibly active. As it consumes the sugar in your Tepache or your ginger bug, it continuously releases carbon dioxide. If you lock that process inside a tightly sealed glass jar and walk away, the pressure will build until the glass explodes like a bomb right on your kitchen counter. Old methods require daily interaction. You must burp the jar, simply unscrewing the lid for a second to release the gas, or use a breathable cloth covering while the ferment is most active. Nature is powerful, but it needs to breathe. The second mistake is visual. Modern life has trained us to fear anything growing on our food.
When a harmless, flat, chalky white film appears on top of Beet Kvass, many people panic and throw a perfectly good batch away. That is just calm yeast, and it is entirely safe. However, if you see fuzzy, dry spots that are green, black, or pink, that is mold. In that case, the jar must be thrown out. The oldest rule of fermentation is simple. Keep your solid ingredients fully submerged beneath the liquid line to protect them. The third mistake involves the vinegar. Natural does not always mean harmless.
The raw apple cider vinegar in a Switchel or a Shrub is deeply medicinal, but its strong acetic acid can slowly erode your tooth enamel if you drink it straight. Always dilute these tonics heavily with water and sip them carefully. Finally, understand the timeline. You do not need to wait for Switchel. It is ready immediately. Tepache takes about 2 to 3 days to bubble. Beet Kvass needs a quiet week to mature, and your ginger bug will usually take 5 to 7 days before it wakes up and fizzes. Safety is not just a modern disclaimer. It is part of the survival path. Old methods worked because they were precise, not reckless. Observation is part of the recipe. You do not need to abandon modern life. You just need to stop being helpless inside it. So do not throw away that next pineapple skin. Test one small method safely this weekend. Leave a comment below with a traditional drink, remedy, or old farm practice that your own family used to make.
And subscribe to Reclaimed Nature, because every week we recover one more piece of practical wisdom before it disappears.